Today we will have a very brief, short introduction to Yaksha Prashna. Right? Now, where does this come? Is a very important episode which comes in the Mahabharata. So, before we talk about what is Yaksha Prashna, a brief recap of what all happened. So, there are a lot of lessons, not just lessons, life lessons for us to learn and imbibe from the Mahabharata itself. Okay, so now we basically know that in the Mahabharata we have the very famous Kurukshetra war which takes place between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So this Yaksha Prashna basically happened for the Pandavas. So brief recap as to the difference between Pandavas and Kauravas. We know that Pandavas were 5 in number, the eldest one being Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. On the other side we had Kauravas who were 100 in number. What is the striking difference in the way they got educated? Both the Pandavas and the Kauravas went to the same school, Gurukula. Who was the teacher? It was Dronacharya. Correct? So Dronacharya was the guru of both the Pandavas and Kauravas. The striking difference what we find is, when we talk about the Pandavas, all the 5 Pandavas learnt all the Vedas, the Shastras, all the various branches, what we say, science, mathematics, economics, politics, all of them were taught to both Pandavas and Kauravas. But one striking difference is that each of the Pandavas made sure that they became expert in one field of knowledge. They were Kshatriyas, so they had to know how to fight. Right? So when we talk about the Pandavas, all 5 Pandavas, each of them had an expertise. Yudhishthira was expert in fighting with the spear, Bhima with Gada, Arjuna with archery, bow and arrow, Nakula and Sahadeva with sword. Okay, so each they knew how to fight with everything, but they were expert in one of them. On the other hand, we talk about Kauravas. We know that Duryodhana was good in Gada, right? Fighting with Gada. That is it. What about the other Kauravas? Were they specialists in anything? Any field of warfare? They were not. There is no information where we say that this Kaurava was good in archery, this Kaurava was good in sword fighting. No. So that means when they were getting educated, they made sure that they worked hard so that they can become an expert in one thing. This is one lesson what we have to learn. We may be going to school, we are learning so many subjects. We cannot become master of all the subjects. But there is one field which we have to choose so that we become an expert. Right? Okay. Now, did they choose this expertise only in warfare? No. They also were expert in certain other things what they learned. Any idea? Can anybody knows what Bhima? Yes, correct. Yes.
Where everyone came.
Correct.
And Nakula Sahadeva were looking of horses and cows.
Correct answer. So now let me elaborate this. The Pandavas had to go to the forest, spend 12 years in the forest. It was called as Vanavasa. And 1 year they had to spend in Ajñātavasa. It is called as incognito. What does Ajñātavasa mean? Incognito. What does incognito mean? That their identity should not be revealed. For 1 year, if anybody identifies that he is Bhima, he is Arjuna, then what would happen? Again 12 years they will have to do Vanavasa and again 1 year of Ajñātavasa. So this was the plan which was hatched by Duryodhana and his uncle Shakuni. So best way is to make sure that they live permanently in forest and we will enjoy the kingdom. Right? So this 1 year of Ajñātavasa, they decided. So if you are good at something, you can do it. For example, Bhima, so all of them decide to go to the kingdom of Virata, right? And they have to live there for 1 year as what? So it is given in the, I'll just take an example of Bhima. So Bhima goes to the king and he says that I am the best, there is no cook in this kingdom who is as good as me. Right? Now we all know that there are many people who cook. 20 years we are cooking for 4 people at home. 10 people come, we know how difficult it is to cook. Yes or no? Right? Now Bhima had, all of them had learned cooking. I'm just taking example of Bhima. He had learned cooking how to cook when he was in Gurukula. After that he was staying in the palace, in the Prastha, isn't it? He was not cooking when he was in the palace. 12 years they were living in the forest. Was he cooking? No, because Draupadi had the Akshaya Patra. Every day she would, they had got it from Surya Bhagavan. That would give the food. But the way he had learned cooking, he goes to the king and he says, it is given in the shlokas of the Mahabharata, there is nobody who can cook as good as I am. He says, I can do all these kinds of dishes. I can prepare different kinds of juices. It is there in the, in the Mahabharata. He challenges the king and he proves that he is not just cooking for himself. He becomes the chief cook for the entire palace. So he has to be so good. So imagine how well he has acquired the knowledge of cooking. Right? We all go to school to get marks. That is the difference. Learning and studying for marks. Yes. 10th exam over, we may have got 95%. If you have decided to take commerce, after 1 week, whatever biology, how many chambers heart has, God knows. We forget. So many years. He has so much of confidence that he is the best. That is the way he had learned cooking. Okay. So similarly with Arjuna, he becomes the dance teacher for the princess Uttare. You cannot become a dancer and teach the princess if you are not good. So how good he must have learned dance, Arjuna. I am bringing these aspects so that you know that they were not just good in warfare, but how our Gurukula system taught all these things to everybody, and they were good in all the aspects. Nakula and Sahadeva were good at taking care of animals. Okay, so one of them took care of the horses, the other one took care of the cows. Very important, cows and horses which were used, right? So this was the speciality which they acquired. Apart from the general, the Shastras and the Vedas and all kinds of streams of knowledge, they made sure that they became experts in some particular field of what they learned. So the difference between acquiring knowledge and studying for getting marks. So they never studied for getting marks. So this is the striking comparison of Pandavas compared to Kauravas. You understand? So I am just trying to highlight how Pandavas would have studied when they were in Gurukula. They never knew that they had to go to the forest. They never knew that Bhima never thought that one day he would cook and become the head cook, right? But the way they learned everything with so much of, maybe he loved to eat and he had lot of interest in cooking. That is a different issue, right? So this is what I wanted to highlight. So what is the learning we get from this episode? We have to make sure that we become an expert in something what we like. We may be studying so many things. It may be dance, it may be music, it may be mathematics, it may be anything, right? So what we are good at, we have to put in lot of effort so that we become an expert in one particular thing. That is what Mahabharata is telling us, right? So Duryodhana wanted the kingdom of Pandavas also, right? He knew that he could not win over Pandavas. So his uncle Shakuni and all of them thought of a plan. So they called Pandavas for a game of dice. First time they lost. Okay, and again they were given back the kingdom because of the episode of Draupadi which took place. Again for the second time they were called. And they played the game of dice, and what happened? One by one they lost everything, whatever they had, and the condition was 12 years they had to spend in the forest and 1 year in Ajnatavasa. Okay, now what did Pandavas lose? What did they lose? They lost their kingdom, they lost their home, they lost everything. Palace, everything. They had to go and stay in the forest. Okay, let us say someone fails in the examination, or somebody is removed from the job. What will happen? People will get into depression. But Pandavas did not get into depression. So 12 years they had to stay in the forest. So what should one do? We all use the term, right? We all hear the term. We have to upskill ourselves. Your study in college, during holidays, do this course, do that course, do that. So fortunately the Pandavas had such a good philosopher, friend, guide, and that was none other than Krishna. So Krishna tells Pandavas that you are staying in the forest, but you are not going to waste these 12 years sitting in the forest. What can one do sitting in the forest? Right? You are not going to waste. You are going to upskill yourself. They were already the best. Arjuna was the best of archer. Bhima was the strongest. There was nobody who can beat Bhima. They were the best in every field. Dharmaraya was an embodiment of Dharma himself. But yet, Krishna said that you are going to upskill yourself. So whenever we have some time, what should we do? Instead of getting dejected, we have to upskill ourselves. Right? So what was the upskilling what Krishna told? He told Arjuna that you have to pray to Lord Shiva and get the most powerful weapon, which is Pashupatastra. So Arjuna does penance and gets the Pashupatastra. Then for Bhima, he tells Bhima to go and pray to Hanuman. Hanuman and Bhima both are the sons of Vayu Bhagavan. Bhima was born by the grace of Vayu, and Hanuman is also Vayu Putra. So Bhima happens to be the Sahodara, brother of Hanuman. Go and pray to Hanuman and learn the techniques of warfare. Is there anybody who is better than Hanuman to teach you the techniques of warfare, to wield Gada, wrestling? Is there anybody better than Hanuman? No. Go and pray to Hanuman. To Ashwini Kumaras and learn the various techniques of healing, medicine. And what about Yudhishthira and Draupadi? Krishna says in the forest, there are different ashrams. Great rishis are staying there. Go and meet them. Go and serve them. Learn from them. Acquire knowledge. Because who is going to become the king? Yudhishthira is going to become the king. Unless he has the right knowledge, will he be able to rule the country? No, he will not be able to rule the country. Don't waste your time. The rishis have so much of great knowledge. Learn from them. Who gave this advice? Krishna gave this advice. So 12 years, they did not waste even one moment. They were always upskilling themselves. Okay, it was almost the end of the 12th year when this episode happens. Suddenly Yudhishthira feels thirsty, and then he asks Nakula to go and search for water. Nakula says, I will search for water and come back. And then he finds a big lake. He tries to drink water. He hears a voice which says, do not drink the water. You will have to answer my question. He drinks. He falls down. Nakula does not come back, so Sahadeva is sent. So one by one, all of them go. All of them do not listen to that voice. They drink water and they fall down unconscious. Finally, Yudhishthira comes searching for his brothers. Now, what does he see? He sees all his 4 brothers lying almost dead. He wants to drink the water. He hears the same voice. What does he do? This is a very big lesson as to how a king should be. He does not get perturbed. He does not get disturbed. I will just tell one thing. They have entered a foreign territory, a different territory. Let's say I come to your house. Can I behave like how I am in my house? No, right? I have to know how I have to behave when I visit. So they have visited a different territory. What is that territory? A lake, a forest, and the voice says that I am the owner of this lake. So when you go to another territory, you have to follow the rules and regulations of that territory, which none of the brothers follow. So as a king, it is his duty to follow the rules and regulations. It may be a forest, it may be somebody's house, it may be a temple, it may be a road. There are some rules and regulations which everybody has to follow in different territories. And that is what Yudhishthira follows. Then what happens? We'll see that in the next class.